How's it going, everyone? Zach here from Jannetty Racing, coming at you guys with a quick little package breakdown on our JRE Terminator camshaft and Valvetrain package for your GM Gen 5 LT base motors. This will fit your LT1, 2, 4, 5, as well as all of your truck base motors, so your L83, your L86, and the L8T, as well as the newer revisions of those motors. Stay tuned with me today, and I'll be going over all of our parts choices, what we include in our package, as well as some optional upgrades that'll help you when you install it in your vehicle. Alrighty, everyone, let's get started. So to preface this camshaft package is an extremely well-rounded package. Not only fantastic for horsepower results, but also drivability as well. This is a true zero sacrifice setup. On naturally aspirated LT1 base setups, we've seen over 500 rear wheel horsepower, and on LT4 boosted applications, we've seen 900 plus rear wheel horsepower with zero issues with the Valvetrain. So, starting off at the core of the package, we have our custom grind Terminator camshaft. Now, we go through Texas Speed for their grinding services. This is our own custom spec. This will come just like this. It'll come in a little cardboard box with this foam padding. The camshaft will be in a bag as well. We do have these ground, as of now, in a 3-bolt non-VVT style setup. And I'll get to that in a second. It helps simplify parts choices as well as ease the reassembly process of the engine. Now, this camshaft does also include a lash cap for those on LT1 high pressure fuel system based applications. This lash cap is necessary. The camshaft does have a 32% fuel lobe. Fantastic for not only LT1 but also LT4 applications that need that extra oomph out of the high pressure fuel pump. This works fantastically. Whether you're running flex fuel or simply making enough horsepower that you need the extra flow, it's a fantastic way to go. Now, for those who are installing this in an LT4 based application, or for those with LT1s or the truck motors that have upgraded to an LT4 fuel system, this lash cap is not necessary, so you can disregard it. Now, in regards to our 3-bolt option, we do include, as an option, Texas Speed's VVT Delete 3-bolt front timing cover. Fantastic piece, very nice, beautiful, nice and painted black. Does have provisions for not only your camshaft position sensor, but also the harness for the variable oil pump vanes on the oil pump. You can see, if you compare this to a stock timing cover, you don't have the big hump here that is included for the factory camshaft sprocket. Now, I couldn't find one of the sprockets lying around because we don't keep them, we don't use them, but I was able to find one of the solenoid bolts. Now, this is an oil-driven solenoid bolt, and this is what holds that camshaft sprocket to the front of the camshaft. This is a one-time use piece. Anytime we are taking one of these engines apart, this essentially goes right in the trash. It is not reusable on reassembly, even back when we were using a single bolt style camshaft design. The other thing that this simplifies is you no longer have the need to lock out the camshaft phaser when you are performing reassembly. So it eases the installation process. There's less moving parts inside the front of the engine, and it just makes for a whole better experience all the way around. Now, with that front timing cover kit, you do also receive this nice, shiny, beautiful 3-bolt style camshaft sprocket, as well as a set of ARP camshaft sprocket bolts. In order to keep the camshaft and crankshaft spinning together like they're supposed to, we do also opt for this wonderful K-Tech billet C5R timing chain. Now, we've been using these on not only the LS's but the LT's as well. It's a fantastic option, not only for reliability, but strength and longevity as well. Tying it all up on the front side of the motor, we do have an ARP harmonic balancer bolt. This replaces the factory style unit, which is a torque to yield bolt. Once you tighten it and loosen it once, that is it for that bolt. This alleviates that issue. This is a reusable bolt, as well as, on top of that, an LS style front crank seal. Primarily, we've heard complaints from the LT1 based applications. These will leak with added cylinder pressure and crankcase ventilation pressure due to boost. So we replace it with the LS style on not only the LT1s but also the LT4s. We don't have any issues. Moving on to some upper Valvetrain upgrades, we do have a set of Texas Speed 660 lift dual valve springs. Now these work fantastically. With this camshaft and Valvetrain package, we reliably spin these motors past the 6,800, 7,000 RPM mark without any problems. No issues with Valvetrain instability, no issues with valve float, and these work out fantastically for us. Adding to that, we do also include, as an option, a set of Smith Brothers bronze rocker trunnions. Now, it's another part that I couldn't find around here to give you an example, but the stock rockers on the LSs and the LTs both have this little roller cage with these little needle bearings. They're real small. Think like the tip of a pen. And over time, with the added Valvetrain stress of the camshaft, as well as the extra horsepower, you can see failures in those. Now, they won't be perfectly evident at first, but they will lead to increased Valvetrain noise, and eventually, and we have seen it here before, you can end up with those little needle bearings in the oil pan. They essentially break free from the little cage that rolls around in the rocker, and they fall right down through the oiling system. Not fantastic to have those little bits and pieces running through your engine. These are a very nice press-in solution. They're a two-piece design, little circlips on the end. Essentially what they allow for is a smooth roller surface. Think of it like a cup inside of a cup. With the oil running through and considerably fewer moving parts, there's a lot less stuff to break under the added stress of a package like this. Now, in regards to lifters and push rods, we do have these kits spec'd out to use a set of OEM GM LS7 lifters, some factory LS style lifter buckets, as well as some correctly measured Brian Tooley 3/8 push rods. Now, of course, depending on if you are going with an aftermarket cylinder head or you're opting to use something other than the LS7 lifters, your push rod length will change. Now, sometimes we do hear people complain of some failures with the LS7 style lifters. The problem ends up being that unfortunately there are a lot of clones of these lifters that we see everywhere. We buy these directly from GM, so there's no concerns about who's actually making these. And on top of that, we've had these lifters hold up to well past 1,000 rear wheel horsepower without any failures. Now, in regards to the DOD/AFM cylinder deactivation end of the engine, we do have two different options that are available to customers. First is the simple option of the Texas Speed DOD hole plugs. Now, these are pressed right into the valley of the motor, right into the oil galleys that supply oil to the cylinder deactivation solenoids. A little press-in design, included in a kit like this. Optionally, if you don't feel comfortable pressing those into the engine, we do have our other option, which is the Texas Speed DOD Delete Valley cover. Now, this is a factory style cover. On the bottom side, you do not have the cylinder deactivation solenoids that you'd usually see. Instead, they have these nice machined surfaces that stamp down on top of those oil galleys. It's a nice direct fit. It simplifies the process, so instead of tapping these into the engine block, you are relying on the O-ring that goes here, as well as the stanchions that will block off that oil. On the top side, you obviously have your provisions for your high pressure fuel pump, and on the front side, you do have your provisions for PCV routing. It's a fantastic time to add in a catch can to your situation right off of this section here, as well as manage any other PCV routing that you may have to do. Moving on to that, we have our cylinder head setup. So this kit is set up for a set of OEM LT, again depending on your application, that may be LT1 or LT4. Same thing with the truck motors, L83, the 5.3 head gaskets, or your L86 6.2 liter head gaskets. Stock head gaskets are an MLS design, multi-layer steel, and they hold up perfectly fine to boost. We haven't seen any problems with these things holding, again, much past 900, 1,000 rear wheel horsepower. And that goes as well for the stock head bolts that we include as an optional addition to the kit. You will receive one of these Allen head style bolts and 19 of the gray standard socket head bolts. These are a stretch bolt. They are one-time use, torque to yield. So when you take the engine apart in the first place, you'll be throwing these out anyway. This is a fantastic time. Get a new set in there, get them torqued and angle torqued the correct way, and you should see no issues. Last but not least, onto the oiling situation for the engine. So depending on your future goals, there are two different options that you can take. The first, and this is more specifically ideal for those looking for a stock-ish application, or they're not going much further past the cam package. This is an updated OEM GM oil pump. Now, this is more specifically for the LT4, the 2018 and earlier LT4 crowd. Of course, as many have heard, the stock oil pumps in those cars, if they have not been replaced or recalled, is of concern. This new design oil pump direct from GM alleviates that situation in a way that is very cost effective and gives you the ability to do this while you're in there. Now the other option, which will change based off of, again, the application, is the K-Tech blueprinted billet high volume oil pump. Now this is a fantastic choice for those who are looking to demand a little bit more out of their car, whether you're on the track road racing, drag racing, or you have some spirited driving in your times ahead. This is a fantastic option to make sure that the oil is where it's supposed to be in the engine when it needs to be. We don't go with a higher pressure setup, but we do use a higher volume. This is a fantastic option for that. We do also stock the K-Tech high volume dry sump oil pumps for those who have, for example, a Grand Sport dry sump LT1 Corvette. This is an option for you. Alrighty, well that should just about wrap it up for all of our parts choices in our Jannetty Terminator camshaft and Valvetrain package. Hopefully I helped alleviate and answer some questions that you guys may have had, helped explain our choices on these parts just a little bit better. If you have any questions, or if you're looking to order this camshaft package with some of these extras for your car, don't hesitate to give us a call. Our phone number is 203-753-RACE, or 7223. You can also message us directly through our website or shoot us an email through there as well. So, with all being said, thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned.